Hello Arjun, thank you for inviting me to Eurosec Academy.
हेलो गाइस, आज के इस पॉडकास्ट सीरीज में आप सभी का स्वागत है। इस पॉडकास्ट सीरीज में हम बात करने वाले हैं डेटा इंजीनियरिंग के बारे में। डेटा इंजीनियरिंग पूरे आईटी डोमेन में एक बहुत बजी वर्ड है। बच्चे अक्सर कंफ्यूज होते हैं डेटा इंजीनियरिंग और डेटा साइंस को लेकर। ठीक है, तो आज हमारे साथ जो है ऐसे एक एक्सपर्ट है जो डेटा इंजीनियरिंग के अंदर जिनको डेकेड्स का एक्सपीरियंस है। अच्छा, हम पहले समझते हैं डेटा इंजीनियरिंग क्या होता है। तो एक फंडामेंटली डेटा इंजीनियरिंग किसी भी रॉ डेटा को, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ रॉ डेटा अवेलेबल, तो वो रॉ डेटा को लेकर उस डेटा को प्रॉपर जगह पे स्टोर करना है और उस डेटा को क्लीन करना है, फॉर्मेटाइज करना है, पाइपलाइन सॉर्ट आउट करना है और फिर उस डेटा को प्रॉपरली उसके अंदर से इंफॉर्मेशन निकालना होता है। इसको कहते हैं डेटा इंजीनियरिंग। इसके अंदर बहुत सारे डिफरेंट डिफरेंट रोल्स होते हैं। तो विदाउट वेस्टिंग टाइम, लेट्स मूव अहेड एंड अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम द एक्सपर्ट। अस्सलाम वालेकुम मुदस्सर भाई। आज के इस पॉडकास्ट सीरीज में मैं आपका वेलकम करता हूँ।
थैंक यू।
इस सीरीज का मेन मकसद है कि हमें जो है ऑडियंस को, जो कैंडिडेट एस्पायर है किसी आईटी फील्ड को रिलेटेड रखते हुए, तो उनको हमें उस पर्टिकुलर फील्ड के साथ इनलाइट करना है कि भाई एक्चुअली वो फील्ड में है क्या। ओके, सो एज आई नो दैट यू आर इन डेटा इंजीनियरिंग फ्रॉम लास्ट मोर देन अ डिकेड। ओके, सो आई जस्ट वांटेड टू नो व्हाट इज डेटा इंजीनियरिंग, कि हमारे जो एस्पायर कैंडिडेट्स हैं उनके लिए समझने के लिए आसानी हो जाए कि उस डेटा इंजीनियरिंग एक्चुअली है क्या।
Okay. So if you just look at the term, right, when you say data engineering, okay, to a great extent you can conclude that it is all about dealing with the data.
ओके
Okay, and it happens to be that data engineering जो है वो आपका foundation है. हम लोग ये जो टर्म सुनते हैं, राइट, वी आर बिल्डिंग रिपोर्ट्स, वी आर बिल्डिंग डैशबोर्ड्स, हमारी एक डेटा साइंस टीम है, वी हैव डेटा एनालिस्ट, वी वांट टू डू एनालिटिक्स ऑन टॉप ऑफ दिस डेटा.
ओके
ओके, वो सब होता है बाद में, बट फॉर ऑल ऑफ दिस टू हैपन यू फर्स्ट नीड डेटा, द राइट डेटा. When I say right data, it has to be accurate data, consistent data, data which arrives in a timely manner. So all of these things, and the data has to be consistent, reliable, and all of that, which means focusing on the data quality aspects as well. And once you do all of this, okay, you have the data which is finally available to be used, as I said, for the reporting purpose, to be used by the BI team for building dashboards, or by the data science team or the analytics team.
ओके
Okay.
So what I understand from this is, let's say if I'm having a data, so the first person who's going to work on that data is a data engineer,
Exactly.
not a data scientist, not a data
Correct.
analytics
Correct.
person.
So probably I will just elaborate, right?
Yeah, please.
In the real world, right?
Yeah.
You have data coming from multiple sources. Now, when I say multiple sources, one is, it could be a database. The other thing, it could be in the form of files. Now, talking about files again, you can have data coming from CSVs, JSON data, Parquet, and all of these. You can also have, some sort of data coming from PDF files. So,
Okay.
which means different types of data coming from different sources. Now, if I give you a real world example, say of a banking scenario, you could have one system, from where you would be extracting the customer data. There could be one system which is the core banking, from where probably you're getting the current saving account, term deposits, and all of that. You could have one system from where you are getting the corporate loans. You could have a fourth system from where you are getting the retail loans.
Okay.
You can still have another system which is dealing into debit cards, then another system for collaterals,
Okay.
and a system for credit cards. There could be multiple such sources. Now, one could be sending data via, Oracle database. For some other system, it could be your SQL server. You can have one system sending you, flat files. You could have a fourth system which could be sending you XML data or whatever it is. So you have to, extract all of that data. You have to do certain transformations on top of that data, and then you have to load the data into your final structures, which could be a database, or it could be, some sort of Parquet files or whatever it is. So, In short, you are making the data fit for purpose. Now
Okay.
again, that could be used by your reporting team and analytics team, or whoever is the end consumer of that data.
Okay. Getting. Next thing I wanted to know is like as you have given me a very broad and very in detail version of what is data engineering.
Correct.
Okay, so I just wanted to know if let's say I'm an aspire candidate regarding the data engineering field, what are the basic criteria do I need to have in terms of educations, and after that in terms of technologies?
Okay, I'll first talk about the education. Now, we all know that IT is one of those fields where even the non-IT people or people from the non-technical background can fit in.
Oh, in data engineering also?
It
Okay.
can, right? So
Okay.
if I talk of computer science, if you talk of IT companies, you have people from not only IT or computer science background, you can also have people from electrical, electronics,
Okay.
mechanical.
Mhm.
I've even seen civil stream people getting into IT.
IT. Okay.
Not only that,
Okay.
there are people who have done their graduation via the commerce route, or okay, and then they've done like invested 1.5 years, 2 years, whatever it is, just to learn the tricks of the trade, and that is how they also end up into the IT field. I've also known people uh, who have been into the army or the military.
Veterans of.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they found this to be an interesting field, and
Okay.
they ended up joining the IT. So
Okay.
that is the first bit, which is talking about the qualification. दूसरा जो पार्ट है आपका, the skills for data engineering. So number one, SQL, which is your structured query language.
Okay.
That is a must. So if you are a data engineer, as I said, right, data engineer, like you have the term data, you may end up loading data and transforming data, with all of these big technologies, but you still need to analyze the data. You need to check for where the errors are, what are the discrepancies in the data. So SQL is a must. You cannot survive
SQL.
without SQL. That is number one. So maybe I can later on elaborate about, like, what would be required as part of SQL, because SQL itself is very broad. But
Hmm.
just going by the skill set, SQL is what you need. You need one of the programming languages. So going by the industry standards at the moment, it could be one of Python, Java, or
Okay.
Scala.
Okay.
Okay. For people who are not very much into programming, or who don't have a lot of experience, or who want to learn programming quickly, easily, I think go ahead with Python. At least, because again, Python is very vast, you cannot learn anything and everything, but at least things which are required from a data engineering standpoint, you should. So that is number two. Third, I would say some basic Linux commands, like
Okay.
if you want to move a file from this location to this location. Okay, so like what is a CP command or the command to copy. If I want to, in Windows you do a cut paste. What is the equivalent of that cut paste in Linux? If there's a file I want to open, so in Windows you do a double click, you open it. What is the equivalent of that in Linux, right? At least the basic top 15-20 commands you should be
That
aware
will
of.
help you in automation also.
Correct, correct. Because when you're working on cloud,
Okay.
correct, you have those instances where you have the VMs and etc.
Okay.
So when you log into those VMs, uh, no, all these commands will help you.
Okay.
Okay, so Linux is, you don't need to get into the detail, but at least the top 15-20 commands, that is the third. Fourth, I would say, is the distributed computing,
Okay.
which
This
is
is.
Spark. Now, if you are talking to Spark using Python, then it is called as PySpark. Now, if you are interacting with the Spark framework using Scala, it is called as Scala Spark.
Okay.
So इसीलिए मैंने कहा था सेकेंड थिंग इज लर्न द प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज.
Which is most
तो
important.
अगर आपने पाइथन सीखा, देन एटलीस्ट स्पार्क के साथ कम्युनिकेट करने के लिए इट विल हेल्प यू.
Okay.
Okay, and plus Python may, if the other thing is I want to say is learn pandas. Pandas is about dealing with data frames and everything, where you do a lot of data cleaning and manipulation. अगर pandas सीखा है Python में, then working with data frames in Spark would be easier.
Okay.
And then of course the technical architecture and how Spark is built, वो सब कर रहे हो. So I think the fourth, as I said, is Spark distributed computing. uh, the other fifth thing I would say is also try to understand what is data warehousing. Like what is a dimension table, what is a fact table. Okay, how do you build a data model? what is a star schema, what is a snowflake schema, what is the difference between an OLTP system versus an OLAP system. So data warehousing will help you. And the other thing I would say, cloud is a must in today's time. So if I talk of the top, no, top cloud providers, you have AWS, you have Azure. So AWS is from Amazon, Azure is from Microsoft, and GCP is from
GCP.
Google.
Yeah.
So these are the top three
Three.
providers. Of course, you also have IBM and Oracle and some of these others. बट ये तीन आपके प्राइम है, AWS, Azure, GCP.
GCP.
अब तीनों के पीछे नहीं भागना है, जैसे मैंने प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज में कहा था कि पिक वन ऑफ देम,
Yeah.
इधर पाइथन और जावा और स्काला. तो वैसे यहाँ पे भी अगर आप AWS सीख लेते हो, अगेन इट इज़ वेरी वास्ट, but at least from a data engineering standpoint, I can give you some of the services like S3, which is for your storage. You have Lambda, which is for writing some small piece of code. Of course, Lambda will have its own set of limitations. You have Glue, where you can write your ETLs. You will have Redshift, which is a data warehouse. You can have Athena, and then there are others as well, right? Like CloudWatch for where you will capture the logs, SNS for your notification service, etc. अगर आपने ये कर लिया AWS में, फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू लर्न व्हाट इज लैम्बडा, तो आपको अज्योर में बहुत ज़्यादा तकलीफ नहीं होंगी, बिकॉज द इक्विवेलेंट ऑफ दैट इन अज्योर इज अज्योर फंक्शन, एंड GCP में उसका इक्विवेलेंट आई थिंक इज अ क्लाउड फंक्शन और समथिंग.
So any of this one you are understanding very well?
जैसे हमने कहा ना कि जैसा मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ कि अगर आपने Oracle डेटाबेस पे काम किया तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि पोस्टग्रे इज अ 360 चेंज, यू कैन अडेप्ट. या आपने पोस्टग्रे पे काम किया तो ये नहीं कि आप MySQL में नहीं कर सकते, यू कैन ऑलवेज अडेप्ट. सिमिलरली आपने क्लाउड किया है, द फंडामेंटल्स डोंट चेंज. वो नाम, सर्विस का नाम अलग हो जाएगा वहाँ पे. यहाँ पे जो आपका S3 बकेट है स्टोरेज का, वो अज्योर में आके आपका ब्लॉक स्टोरेज हो जाता है, वही गूगल में आके GCS हो जाता है.
Getting.
तो फंडामेंटल्स डोंट चेंज, maybe some difference in the way it is working behind the scenes. Okay, and what AWS has to offer versus what Azure has to offer, but fundamentally it won't change. So at a high level, आपने किसी एक सर्विस को, सॉरी एक क्लाउड प्रोवाइडर को पकड़ लिया, उसमें से कुछ 4-5-6 सर्विस फ्रॉम अ डेटा इंजीनियरिंग स्टैंड पॉइंट पकड़ लिया. जस्ट टू थ्रो मोर लाइट, Azure साइड पे अगर कर रहे हो तो Azure Data Factory, which is ADF, Azure Databricks, you have your Azure Functions, Azure Key Vault, and your blob storage and your Synapse. So ऐसे 5-6 जो भी है टॉप वाले वो आप कर लो. I think you should be good from a technology standpoint.
Amazing. This is wonderful. You have given a lot of technical insights. I'm quite hopeful the students who are quite interested in this domain would have got gems out of it. So I just wanted to further I'm having some questions regarding there is a very when you see the JDs of this kind of this kind of jobs. So you will see the Spark. I have usually seen Python, Spark. You must have knowledge of some database. Apart from that, they also ask about Hadoop. So just give me some what are the importance of that technology also.
Okay, so you can definitely read about Hadoop. Okay, but if you go by what the market situation is, and I'm saying from my experience,
Okay.
There was a lot of buzz about Hadoop like 6-8 years back. Okay, but if you compare whatever processing you're doing using Hadoop versus what you're doing using Spark,
Okay.
it is claimed that Spark is, it is claimed that it is 100 times faster.
Oh.
But it need not be. I think 100 times faster is a big number.
Spark is 100
times faster. No, this is what I've seen in theory, but practically people who've done POCs and who've moved away from Hadoop into Spark, they are saying at least you will get like 3 to 4 times of benefit.
Better.
Okay.
Performance.
So you can read about Hadoop, but as I said, right, there was a lot of buzz about Hadoop around 6, 8, 9 years back.
Okay.
But there's a shift now, and it is Spark, and even now, like you don't use Spark as a standalone technology. You will see flavors of Spark. Like Databricks has an offering.
Okay.
So you don't have to set up your nodes. You don't have to do the cluster configuration. Just by doing some clicks, you are able to set up the cluster. You don't have to purchase the hardware and procure.
Getting
correct. So all those things have also been made easy because of these platforms.
Amazing. That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Mudassir, for sharing this amazing, enlightenment and insights regarding the data engineering domain. I just wanted to end up this podcast with with asking you to give some, some tips and tricks to the candidate or to the aspirants, so that that will be helpful, helpful for them in order to grab good jobs and secure good jobs in this domain.
Okay, so I'll repeat, like, SQL, absolute must. Go for one of the programming languages. Okay, Linux, basic commands, distributed computing, which is your Spark framework, data warehousing, and one of the cloud technologies you can do. But what is more important is that people do take up a course on Udemy, Coursera, whatever it is.
Okay.
They start and then they leave it midway.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so starting is not important. Making a start is not important. It is important, but more important is to be able to finish it. Okay, and the other thing is practice, because I always tell people that you can't become a good swimmer just by watching somebody swim.
You have to.
Correct. So you have to practice.
Yeah.
So unless I throw myself into the water, I will not know what swimming is.
Yes.
So it's like, if I just keep watching videos of Sachin Tendulkar and I expect that I'll be a very good batsman, you will not. I mean, it is impossible.
Yes.
So you have to sweat. You have to go to the nets. You'll have to sweat it out. So all I'm saying is practice is a must. Without it, nothing will work. And keep writing code.
Okay.
Okay. Be inquisitive. Come up with your own problems. Like, if I have this data and if I have this data, what will happen if I merge this? And if this is the target, or this is the end outcome I want. So keep working on that. And yeah, you have so many platforms, right? In terms of Google and YouTube, uh, uh, W3 schools.
Yeah.
And Geeks for Geeks. There's so
Yes,
many
yes.
things, right?
Nowadays, you have seen that a lot of contest kind of, you need to practice your
Correct.
codes. There are lead codes, there are hacker rank where
I
you
was
can.
about to say that.
Yes.
I was about to say that once you have learned a technology, right, or SQL, Python, or whatever it is, ensure that you're also solving problems.
Okay.
Okay, and that is when you actually know that what you have learned versus what you have implemented versus what they ask you in the lead code or hacker rank. So I think for the SQL, hacker rank has around 52 questions or something. It is worth doing that.
Yes.
Similarly for Python, and you have those badges. They'll give you a badge. If you get certain points, you'll get a bronze badge and then a silver badge and a gold badge. I'm saying, keep doing that.
Yeah.
Keep
And
doing
I've
that.
seen that people used to recruit, companies used to recruit candidates from those platform also. It's a very wonderful platform.
So even in my organization, that is HackerRank is the platform that we use for shortlisting candidates.
Okay.
So it's a must for anyone who wants to be part of our team, that they have to go through the HackerRank test, and only if they get those certain marks, no, they will be qualified for the second round, for the interview rounds. Otherwise, they will not even be qualified for the interview rounds.
I don't want to extend, as I told that this was the last conversation, but I wanted to know from you, as you have been in this field, and you, as you know, the psychology of a human in the digital era is not, as you said, you have started your answer with people use, as you said, people used to take courses, digital courses, but they don't complete it, because as a human psychology have you have read in some articles, I think that we have a very low span period. As a human, we have a very low span period. We used to procrastinate things. So in that procrastination, what happened? We used to stop doing one particular thing. So do you recommend with online, you should also go for some offline kind of courses, so that you'll be having a mentor with you? What's your thought of?
Okay, I'll answer that in two parts. Okay, all I'm saying is, if I can do it after 15 years of industry experience,
Yeah.
then why can't a fresher do it? Why can't somebody with 2 or 3 years of experience do it?
Yes.
I am
Why
still.
not?
I mean, recently I have done. I've completed entire playlist of Snowflake. I've done it for Spark, which is like, when I say a playlist, it's not like 5 to 6 videos. It is like 20 to 24 odd videos.
Okay.
I've been watching YouTube videos on building data pipelines using GCP and Azure and AWS, and there's so many things. I'm saying, if I can do it
Why?
after 15 years of experience, then why can't a 22 or 23 or 24 years old do it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is one thing.
Okay.
Regarding your second point about whether online is better or offline is better, again, it's a matter of choice, because if you're the working professional who's working from Monday to Friday, and probably on days when you also have to log in on a Saturday, then offline would consume, the entire Sunday for you, or
Yes,
whatever
yes,
it is.
yes.
So in that case, so again, it will depend on a case to case basis. If you find that, spending 2 hours today, and then tomorrow you spend 4 hours online, if that is what suits you, go ahead. But if you're somebody who gets distracted easily, because you are the only one, you're just looking at a screen or the monitor, then you can opt for the offline mode of training,
Training.
because you will get colleagues, you will get mentors. So so depending on your situation, you can go for that. But no matter what, what somebody is able to throw at you or teach you, it it is your effort, right, which will help you in the end.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much, Mudassarji, for
Most welcome.
being on this platform, sharing your knowledge, your wonderful, journey with us.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Jazakallah khair.